Good morning. It's morning here anyway. Um, I am about to go to my day job and work for the man who's keeping me down. Uh, Corporate America, my favorite. And so that's as good a time as any to mention this anecdote I had. So I was on Facebook, and obviously no good can come of that right off the bat. But I was on Facebook, and yesterday I showed a little bit of solidarity with some of the anti-war sentiments expressed by a young lady I'm friends with on Facebook. I don't know her that well, but I did write her on her post. I said, I respect your bravery and the moral strength of your posts. Um, and she spilled love on it or whatever. We haven't really interacted mano mano. So this morning, oh, and I also want to say on my post, Facebook page, uh, I have for the little self-descriptive blurb. I think it's like writer, artist, musician, leftist. So I put leftist on there not long ago because I wanted to kind of at least slightly define myself so that if there were people who wanted to friend me and wanted the option of finding out ahead of time that I may not be someone they're ideologically compatible with. They had the option not to friend me, or if I sent them a friend request, they had an option to turn me down. It's kind of like when you see somebody that seems interesting, and then on their profile, they go unabashed pro Trump supporter. So that doesn't immediately, like, for a lot of people, make me not want to accept their friend request, but it does make me reluctant because that's kind of one reality tunnel that they're locked into. And that's a strong one. That's the brainwashing is strong. Uh, but then again, if they put on their page, go DNC Biden Harris, that's also a red flag to me personally. Um, it's not quite as much one as uh, the one with Trump, but that's because the Trump one has been so thoroughly demonized that you associate all these bad things with it, even if they're not all true, you know. But I think if they're going to be so bold as to just hopefully being aware of that, but probably not very self-aware people, bold as to just go Trump supporter, and put it as part of defining their identity. Uh, instead of just being like, yeah, I voted for Trump. This is why, or Trump's better president than Biden is now. And if you want to just say things like that, I get it. Um, I mean, I always agree, but sometimes I do agree. But yeah, to define your identity in partisan terms is a turnoff for me personally. So I'm not going to do that anyway. I mean, if I were going to define myself, I would define myself first of all as a nonpartisan, as a political entity. Um, I was going to say a voter, but as far as my future of voting, I don't know what lies ahead with that, except that I won't ever vote for uh, one of the duopoly for higher office ever again. I'm not don't belong to any political party. In case you missed that, I've said it on other videos. But if this is like your first video that you're seeing of mine, and they're like, "Who the fuck is this guy? What's he talking about?" Um, so anyway, so a friend, according to the little, blurb, a friend, a Facebook friend of this young lady whose post I commented on, whose anti-war post I commented on, uh, someone who was friends with her and also was common friends with this other chick I know. It's like some rockabilly chick, like punkabilly chick, who I can't tell if she has a political affiliation. It doesn't matter. But anyway, so we had those two common friends. So some cat named Brady or Brandy or Brad or something. He he writes me and he says, "Are you a Facebook Incorporated communist?" So right away, it's like he's trying out of the blue, no introduction. I don't know who the fuck you are. This person is, wanting to know if I'm a communist, based on really no evidence whatsoever of me being one, other than that I'm not, I guess, on his side, you know, of the aisle, and the fact that I put leftist probably, and he probably must have read that because apparently he dived into my uh, list of former jobs, and I've listed publicly on my profile most of my former jobs from the last, like, say, 20 years. There haven't been a huge amount of them, but I don't really have anything to hide. And I originally joined Facebook partially to network, and get art or writing gigs. Of course, that has rarely happened as a result, but so I've just left that. But the kind of person that begins stalking your profile because they take offense to something you said to someone they know, that's a sentence or two that that person you're posting it to gets, but they're taking it completely out of context because they already have their reality tunnel, their programming as to what this means. He said this, therefore he is this term, or he labels himself thusly, and therefore he is this. Well, yeah, I label myself a leftist because I'm left wing politically, far left wing. I'm not a liberal. I used to be, but I'm not a liberal. I'm far to the left of liberals, and I don't belong to any political party. And I'm an anti-imperialist, and I'm anti-war. And that's about all I say these days. I don't call myself a progressive anymore because that's been tainted. I don't call myself a liberal anymore because that also, in my mind, has been tainted. Um, so this guy is either he seems like, from his little bit I looked at his stupid profile, that he's probably a liberal guy, but he's just in favor of this current war that's going on in the Eastern Bloc, um, and any potential one, nuclear or otherwise, that may stem from it. Whereas I'm not in favor of that latter option, especially because annihilation just doesn't appeal to me. Being disintegrated, uh, to ashes. I don't know. It's not my thing. But this, so anyway, are you a Facebook Incorporated communist? I'm not sure what that means. I don't have any affiliation with Facebook directly any more than this guy does, except that I use it. I didn't say works for Zuckerberg. Uh, but yeah, the communist thing. And then there's a little pause. And I'm looking at it, it's in the message request. So, it's like if you answer this message, then this person can see your replies. And so, I mean, I'm not gonna directly answer this buffoon. And then he asks, um, is working at Barnes and Noble a socialist endeavor? So, wow. Okay, so he's digging into my profile. He knows I worked at Barnes and Noble for a long time, and he's, I guess, trying to say that if I'm a leftist, first of all, if I'm a leftist who's against the war, I must be a communist, and or ergo a socialist, and therefore, if I work for a major corporation, uh, and I'm a socialist, then I'm a fucking hypocrite. These aren't clever or new strategies to criticize someone, much less an utter stranger. So I did answer. I had him in two windows open, and in one window I just queued up whether to add friend or follow or whatever. And I just queued it up to block because I don't want to hear from this fucker. Then the other one I just replied, "Hey." Then I replied, "Go fuck yourself." And then I hit block. And that's that. But anyway, so that was my way of starting the morning on Facebook, uh, from a total piece of shit, garbage human being who decided that they were gonna get me, and stick it to me, uh, with a out of the blue, from left. I was gonna say from left field. But compared to me, this guy's coming from right field. Insult, you communist, socialist, anti-war guy, hypocrite, corporate sellout. So anyway, I'm going to go and work for this corporation that's affiliated with a even bigger, giant, mega corporation in our building, so that I can, pay my bills. But I'll be back later with some videos that aren't related to this kind of nonsense. But I just needed to get that off my chest. So have a great day. Thanks.